Section 18 of Shadowland, November 1919. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Shadowland, November 1919, by Various. Come, cheer up, old folks. There's plenty of time for you to do things unless you are over 100. Some people seem to think that the big things of this world are always accomplished by the young people. This is not so. However, some people grow old at 40, while others are still young at 60. Men are different. Some blossom and bloom in youth and wither and decay in middle age. Some are imbeciles in boyhood and youth and intellectual giants in old age. Some are bright in the spring, summer, autumn, and winter of their lives, and some are not bright ever. On the whole, it is safe to say that the world's best thoughts, works, and deeds have come from men who were middle-aged or over. Mozart, Beethoven, John Fiske, Coleridge, Bryant, Elizabeth Browning, Mrs. Hemans, Raphael, Chatterton, John Stuart Mill, Macaulay, Pascal, Tasso, Bulwer-Lytton, Shelley, Eupolis, Cicero, Octavius, Pliny the Younger, Alexander, William Wotton, and Newton were all extremely precocious. Some of the best works of Byron, Pope, Collins, Congreve, and Sheridan were produced before the authors were 26 or 27. Joan of Arc accomplished all her wonderful feats at 18, and Alexander died at 32. Bryant wrote Thanatopsis at 18, but his greatest work was done at 77, and even at 84 he was still writing. Newton had accomplished most of his best work at 45, and conceived much of it at 24, though he lived to be 85. Swift wrote The Tale of a Tub at 30, but lived to the age of 72. Cowper was 50 when his first work was published. Lord Bacon's essays were written at 35, but his greatest work came at 60. Dryden's best odes came at 70, and Chaucer was about the same age when the Canterbury Tales came out. Shakespeare's younger works were of course fine, but his best came with his riper years. Milton turned out some great works before he was 30, but the immortal Paradise Lost came at 57. Burke's best, his Reflections, were produced at 60. At 10 a child, at 20 wild, at 30 tame if ever, at 40 wise, at 50 rich, at 60 great or never. Sophocles, Pindar, Anacreon, and Xenophon were octogenarians. Kant, Buffon, Goethe, Fontenelle, and Newton were over 80 when they died. Michelangelo died at 89, Titan 99, Harvey 80, and still busy. Landor wrote Imaginary Conversations at 85. Isaac Walton was writing at 90, and so was Hahnemann at 91 and married at 80. Cornaro was in better health at 95 than at 30, and de Balzy was still practicing medicine at 103. Demosthenes was at his best at 54, Aristotle at 50, and Plato after he was 55, and did not die until 82. Spinoza, Sterne, Mommsen, Pasteur, Mohammed, Wren, Leonardo da Vinci, Cromwell, and Cervantes did their best work after 40, and Scott never wrote a word until he was over 40. Adam lived 930 years, Seth 913, Enos 905, Noah 950, Canaan 910, Mahalalel 895, Jared 962, and Methuselah 969. Haller has noted 1,000 cases of centenarians, 62 from 100 to 120 years, 29 from 120 to 130, and 15 from 130 to 140 years. St. Patrick died at 122, Attila at 124. In Russia alone, in 1828, there were 828 centenarians in the empire, of whom 40 had exceeded 120. In 1830, according to the census reports, there were 2,556 persons in our own country 100 or over, and in 1850, nearly the same number. Old wood to burn, old books to read, old wine to drink, and old friends to converse with, said Alfonso of Castile. Young blood for energy, enthusiasm, and vigor, old blood for good sense, judgment, wisdom, prudence, balance, and sagacity, and somewhere between the two, a happy union of all. The Octogenarian. End of section 18.